Do you hate doing performance reviews for your team? Well, let me give you 5 top tips for making that process effective, easy, and super valuable. This is Productivity ACE. Let's get it done. The performance evaluation. Regularly cited as one of the least enjoyable tasks that a manager has to perform, especially if you've got a big team. But that's also really dangerous. The performance evaluation may not be liked, but it's super important and it can make or break the future of your team. In many companies, the yearly evaluation process is admin heavy, takes a long time, uses poor quality or badly designed IT systems, and then on top of that, many managers don't perform the process efficiently, which doubles down on all the other problems. Well, in fact, there's a lot a manager can do to make the yearly performance evaluation process much easier and significantly more valuable to the employee and the company. So here come 5 top tips from 20 years of conducting performance evaluations. And stick around to the end because I'll throw in a bonus tip at the end. But I do need you to subscribe to this channel. If you haven't already, go on, hit that subscribe button now. We're on a close run to 1,000 subscribers. One day we might even be at 1 million and you can say you've been there from the start. The first tip for effective performance reviews is no surprises. This is a tip for the manager. The main goal for a manager for a performance evaluation is to make sure that the annual review at the end of the year doesn't contain any surprises for anybody. The last thing you want is for your employee to be surprised or shocked or baffled by the rating and comments that you've given them. This is how people get upset and it's how motivation gets damaged. And this almost always comes from a situation where a manager and an employee haven't been communicating well throughout the year. So as a manager, make sure you've got regular one-to-ones in the calendar with every report and make selected one-to-ones focus on career, current performance, the track the employee is on, how the employee needs to develop, what type of rating they're heading for towards the end of the year. You might even give an indicative rating, say at halfway through the year or a quarter way through the year. This way the employee knows exactly where they stand at all stages of the process and everybody arrives at the end of the year review nice and comfortable with the comments and ratings that have been assigned. So as a manager, use this constant communication to set the expectations and prepare the employee for the conversation to follow. The next tip, this one's for the employee, be honest and objective. Be as honest and objective as you can with your own self-appraisal. Everybody wants to be great. Everybody wants to get a top rating. But do you really deserve it? Are you really outstanding? Are you really top of the tree? Identifying development areas isn't something to be embarrassed about or ashamed of, quite the opposite in fact. So as an employee, always take a really honest look at your performance delivery, behaviours and think, could you have done better? Is what you contributed aligned to the rating you've given yourself? Really? Are you really a 5 out of 5? And make sure every rating is fully justified with evidence and data. As I said, everybody wants to be top of the tree, but does the data back it up? Here's another tip, this one's for the manager. Explain the process. It's vital for every employee to understand the nuances and detail of the entire performance management process. Sometimes people think it's just the manager taking a look at their employee's performance and making a call, assigning their own rating, and then that's it. Well, in reality, the evaluation process has multiple steps, including 360-degree feedback from clients, from peers, as well as a convoluted process where a manager's rating has got to be approved by senior leadership. This is because generally ratings need to fit into some sort of company distribution curve and be normalized or corrected accordingly. So, as a manager, there can be occasions where you assign a rating and then have to change it based on the direction from the senior calibration process. And that can be a really difficult thing to do. I make sure my teams know the whole process, warts and all. And while I can't tell them if they've been the subject of a ratings correction, it's always better to be honest and at least make them aware that these steps do exist in the process. So walk your team through the whole evaluation process, explain the complexity, the reasoning behind the calibration and normalization, as well as what the rating counts for in terms of potential reward and compensation. And the next tip, this one's for managers as well. Judge the vibe of the meeting. Remember, the performance evaluation is supposed to be a productive process that rewards employees for the good work they've done, as well as giving them actionable feedback and development points that they can act on and improve. It's not supposed to be a meeting where anyone emerges feeling stressed, upset, demoralized or emotional. And I've seen that loads of times where people storm out of a performance meeting and they go straight on the find a new job website. So as a manager, it's up to you to judge the tone of the meeting minute by minute. If somebody's getting upset, It's up to you to pull the vibe back around to be more collaborative, or help them understand and recognize why some of the messages you've given them might be difficult. Ultimately, it's about recognition. And as a manager, you've got to ensure that an employee feels valued, appreciated, and supported, even if they may not have had a great year. And sometimes that's the case. Employees don't have brilliant years all the time, and sometimes messages might be tough, even for high-performing employees. So make sure as a manager that you're situationally aware enough of the tone and vibe of the evaluation meeting to manage it minute by minute. Of course, the chances of this happening are a lot less if you've taken the earlier tip of ensuring that nobody gets any surprises, but it can still happen. And the bonus tip as promised. This one's for the manager and the employee. Keep a log from the start of the year. The whole process is super time consuming and difficult to try and remember all of the highs and lows of people's delivery and conduct at the end of the year. That's one of the reasons the process takes a long time and is stressful. So one of the most useful tips for managers and employees alike is to start logging all of the wins and losses from the start of the year. I tend to do this on a monthly basis for each employee, simply logging any good achievements or feedback, as well as any areas that they might need to work on. Then when it comes to the end of year process, it's just a simple task of pulling up the log for each person and referring to all of the dates and the evidence. Easy. This sounds simple, and indeed it is, but many managers don't do it. And in my 20 years of experience, it's one of the most important and useful tips for taking the hassle out of the process and making it less stressful. If you've got all the information you need in front of you without having to dredge through a year of emails, brilliant. It also goes without saying that it's super useful for the employee as well, because they'll always need to do a self-review, and having their own wins and development areas to hand is extremely handy. That's just some of the ways you can make the much maligned performance evaluation go super smooth. Done well, it's one of the most critical and useful aspects of a manager's role. Done badly, it can really harm you and your team. Please, if you haven't done already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, check out our Skillshare courses. We've got loads of in-depth courses that you can take for free using the referral link in the description. That's it for this one. We'll see you next time.